Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brandon Doyle, Marketing Manager here at Blue Corona. And first and foremost, I want to thank everyone in attendance today. And before we get started, if you could do me a favor, in your GoToWebinar dialog box, there's a little chat button with a little, says chat with a little triangle next to it. Go ahead and chat me just the number 1, just simply a 1, if you can hear me today. All right, I don't see any ones yet. If someone can hear me out there, do me a favor and just drop a 1 in that chat box, so I know that everyone here can hear me, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, we appreciate that, gang. Okay, so the future of SEO. Again, I want to thank everyone in attendance today. Today we're going to dive into really search engine optimization and cover a few different things. Everything from where search engine optimization, or SEO for short, started, and how it first got its start and some big updates along the way, all the way to what the future of SEO looks like, and more importantly, and perhaps most importantly, really how to best optimize your website for 2019 and the years ahead. And we'll talk about why those things are important here today. But again, before we get started, just a few clerical administrative pieces before we jump in. So first and foremost, this webinar is co-hosted by the Air Conditioning Contractors of America, our friends over at ACA. And some of you might be on the line today, and we want to say thank you for being such a great partner to Blue Corona and for co-hosting this webinar today. As we go throughout today's webinar, if you have any questions, again, in your GoToWebinar panel, you'll see a little row that says questions with a little triangle next to it. If you click that triangle, that'll open up the questions box. And of course, if you have any questions along the way, we're going to do our best to answer all of those as we progress through this webinar, and we'll set aside some time at the end to answer any questions that anyone has as well. So for those of you guys might be wondering, what is Blue Corona and who am I? Who's Brandon Doyle? Blue Corona is a full-service digital marketing agency, and we have 2 office locations, one here where I'm located in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the other in Gaithersburg, Maryland. And we really first got our start in 2008 when our company was founded. And ever since then, we've helped hundreds of companies across the nation grow their digital presence, and in turn, help grow their business and accomplish their business goals. And to put it simply, we help companies accomplish 3 critical things. Number 1, we help them increase their leads and sales through their website. Number 2, we help optimize their marketing costs and really help reduce those marketing costs for them while maximizing their ROI. And finally, number 3, we help companies in any industry differentiate their brand online and really set themselves apart from their competitors. Again, founded in 2008, Blue Corona is an Inc. 500 and Inc. 5000 company, and we really specialize in the home services industries. So throughout today's webinar, you're going to see a lot of HVAC examples, and that's because we are partnering and love the folks over at the Air Conditioning Contractors of America organization. So I'm going to use a lot of HVAC examples. However, what we talk about today isn't solely applicable to HVAC contractors. This is applicable to any business who's looking to generate more leads and sales from a local consumer base. Okay, if your consumers or your customers really are located within 10, 15, maybe even 20, 30 minutes from you, this webinar is really highly applicable to your business. Again, but you're going to see a lot of HVAC examples. Again, one final thing, if you have questions throughout the webinar, feel free to click that triangle next to questions in your GoToWebinar panel, type them in, and we'll do our best to answer all the questions at the end of the webinar. All right, folks, let's go ahead and jump right in. So today, again, I'm going to give you a little bit more detailed background on Blue Corona, and then we're really going to jump into the evolution of SEO. Again, how SEO has changed, when it kind of first came about, and what that really looks like. We're also going to cover, again, 7 SEO strategies that you want to be focusing on now and into the future. You know, really the key takeaway from today's webinar is going to be, are you doing these things? If not, you should start. And how is this going to set me up for success leading into not only the rest of 2019 and eventually into 2020, but for the years ahead. And lastly, again, we'll answer all questions at the end of the webinar. But first, a little bit about Blue Corona. So Blue Corona, again, we are a full service digital marketing agency, but we really like to position ourselves as we are your partner. We're your digital marketing partner. We are an extension of your business or of our clients' businesses at a little bit more affordable rate, you know, than maybe perhaps hiring someone in-house or even having us supplement your in-house marketing efforts that your own marketing manager might be doing, or an office admin, or maybe even yourself. So we really think and act like owners, and really when we craft not only SEO but all sorts of digital marketing campaigns, we put ourselves into the shoes of the owner and say, okay, what do we want to accomplish, and what is the best way to do that? And again, we focus on three things: increasing leads and sales, optimizing your marketing costs, and differentiating your company online. And we do that through a variety of services like SEO, or search engine optimization, like we're here to talk about today, pay-per-click, Google local services ads, things like nurture campaigns like email marketing or review solicitation and reputation management. We can really help you accomplish these three goals through a variety of methods. Again, we specialize in home services marketing. We have clients in all sorts of industries, ranging from the legal industry to financial services to e-commerce, but we really hit a home run in the home services industries, things like HVAC, plumbing, electrical, remodelers, and design build contractors. If you're a home service company, whether you're needs-based like HVAC or want-based like a remodeling company, we really have hit a home run in those industries throughout our tenure. And we actually just celebrated our 10th year in business last year. So over the course of those 10 years, we've refined some of the strategies that you're going to see today in order to maximize the best results for our clients. We are also the ACCA's exclusive digital marketing partner, and again, we're proud of that. And we have 2 locations, again, one in Maryland and one in North Carolina as well. And we are made up of a team of roughly 60 or more marketers. It's actually slightly higher than 60, but those range from everyone from account managers who are dedicated to your business and your point of contact here and helping you grow, in addition to our team of specialists like SEO analysts, copywriters, pay-per-click specialists, call taggers, you name it. Someone on our team is doing it. And again, I said it once, I'm going to say it a few times, we help companies grow. And on your screen here today, you can see that there's a really great example of just some of the local heating and air conditioning companies that we have helped grow over the course of our tenure. We got our start here on the East Coast in the Mid-Atlantic, and we service companies all across the United States, with a majority, 99% of our clients being in the continental United States, all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast. And at Blue Corona, we like to have our clients speak for us. And again, these are a couple of the logos you might have seen on the previous slide. But really, I wanted to present to you really how our clients view Blue Corona. Over here on the left, we have the team from GAC Services. They are a former ACCA Residential Contractor of the Year in a pretty large heating, air conditioning, and electrical company located in Maryland. Rich Biaba, the Vice President of GAC Services, briefly said in his testimonial, "You are a big part of my growth, and I really appreciate it." And then we have Cindy Williams from HVAC and Plumbing Unlimited. up in the Northeast. And part of her quote, which I found interesting, was Blue Corona staff members are at the top of the knowledge curve when it comes to their respective fields. And that's really, when you think about that sentiment, that's why we're here today, to give you and really spill our knowledge and give you the tools and techniques to be able to implement these SEO strategies either on your own or the knowledge and expertise to be able to find someone to help you with it. So with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into the evolution of SEO. So we're going to take a spin back in time. We're going to hop on our DeLorean here with Doc, and we're going to go back in time, but we're going to go way back further than the 80s. And I wish I was in a physical room with everyone, because if I was, I would ask you if you know, and to raise your hand if you know who this gentleman is on your screen. And if you happen to know who this is, feel free to go ahead and chat that to us. We'll see if anyone has the right answer. Give you guys about 10 seconds to type that in if you have any guesses. All right, no one's being brave today. I didn't get any guesses. But this is Dr. Vannevar Bush. And why is he important? We're starting when it comes to the evolution of SEO. We've backed it up all the way to the year 1945. And Dr. Vannevar Bush is important because he was really the first person to publish anything that really conceptualized what Google is today. In an article in 1945 published in The Atlantic, Dr. Vannevar Bush said, quote, a collection, and he proposed a collection of data and observations, the extraction of parallel material from the existing record, and the final insertion of new material into the general body of the common record. Now that's a mouthful, so I'm going to take a step back and really dig into what Dr. Vannevar Bush said back in 1945. So the first part, Dr. Vannevar Bush envisioned a collection of data and observations. So when we think about how that applies to Google, Google really is just a database, right? A collection of different data points, observations, websites, web pages, images, video, tweets, social media posts. It's a collection of information, right? And that's the first part of what Dr. Vannevar Bush had touched on, a collection of data and observations. Now, Dr. Vannevar Bush also mentioned a functionality of the extraction of parallel material from the existing record and the final insertion of new material into the general body of the common record. Again, going back to Google, what all does that mean? Well, Dr. Vannevar Bush was a little bit ahead of his time. He envisioned that database of information being able to extract relevant, contextually relevant information from its database, self-extract it, and present it in a new form into the general body, or what we know today as Google search result pages. Okay, so again, Dr. Vannevar Bush wanted a collection of data and observations, the extraction of that material, and the insertion of that material into a body of common record. And that's really what Google is. It has its memory bank, its index of web pages. It presents similar parallel material to the users when they search something like AC repair near me. They're going to get an extraction of that material, which is search results for local HVAC contractors, and then Google inserts that onto their search results page. So Dr. Vannevar Bush was really ahead of his time there, and not much happened between 1945 until 1991. And now 1991 is important because this was the year that the first website was ever launched on the internet by a gentleman by the name of Tim Berners-Lee. So again, 1945, Google was not Google, but it was the functionality of Google was conceptualized. Jumping forward almost 50 years, we had the first website launched. And then really in 1994 was the next big step towards SEO. Now in 1994, search engine optimization wasn't really a thing yet still. However, a gentleman by the name of Eric Ward was the first to publish on the internet looking for people to link back to his own website based on relevancy and connection. And as we think about how backlinks or linking to another website impacts your SEO, backlinks in your link profile are still a huge part of your organic success on Google and on other search engines like Bing, Yahoo, etc. So in 1994, the first person put the call out to other people to say, hey, if you're running a website similar to mine or you're publishing information similar to my topics, link back to me, because that's going to be beneficial for your users. And in Google's algorithm, backlinks are still relevant and important today. In 1998, Google officially launched in the fall of 1998, September, October timeframe out there. And this was Google's first iteration of a search engine, okay? It wasn't what it was today with all your paid ads. It was strictly organic search results in 1998. And since then, Google's really evolved, as you know. But one of the bigger updates and trends that happened in search engine optimization was occurring right around 2003. In 2003, as you can see here on your screen, those little red text, they say cheap flights. And keyword stuffing, or the practice of keyword stuffing your website's content with relevant keywords over and over and over and over and over and over again, worked. It helped you rank #1 on Google. It helped you increase and outrank your competitors. However, keyword stuffing was then quickly banned and recognized by Google and banned, and saying, hey, this content doesn't read correctly. No one would write like this and write the keyword, as in this example, cheap flights, over and over again. You know, they're scamming our own algorithm. But in 2003, that worked, and it was very popular. 5 years later, in 2008, Google released their suggestion box. Now, if you ever search on Google and you start typing in your search, you probably already know this, you start to see questions, similar questions that other searchers have asked previously related to your search. So if you yourself are searching air conditioning repair, Charlotte, North Carolina, as you start typing air conditioning, you might see questions underneath like, why does my air conditioning smell? Why is my air conditioner making noises? You know, and this suggestion box was a really powerful tool for SEO analysts and companies running SEO campaigns like Blue Corona, because it provided further insight into how users are surfing the web and interacting with certain pages. And in addition to that, and perhaps more importantly, this was the first big shift from Google that shifted the focus from businesses to consumers. Okay, at the end of the day, Google just ultimately wants to provide the best answers for consumers who need your service or are interested in your services. And that's really being consumer focused. But back before now, in 2008, Google was primarily business focused and helping business owners start to use the platform and recognize the value of it. A few years later, in 2011, search engine optimization is in full force. SEO and digital marketing is a growing industry, as it still is today. But in 2011, Google doubled down on their consumer intent and their consumer focus, and they released Panda 1.0. Now, if you're familiar with Google updates, they frequently like to name their algorithm updates after animals. But Panda in 2011 was Google's first big algorithm update that shifted towards providing relevant content to users, and at the same time penalizing websites with weak or poor quality content. Okay, and that again, Google again is doubling down on the consumer intent and really being consumer focused in providing the best answers for them, as opposed to being a more B2B platform. In 2012, we have another somewhat large update from Google, and that is Penguin. The Penguin update was released, and what Penguin did is it targeted websites that violated Google's Webmaster Guidelines. Google publishes this thing every year called their Google Webmaster Guidelines, and it's the rules and the do's and don'ts of how to stay in Google's good graces and how to get penalized, essentially. So you always want to make sure your website or your digital marketing provider is acting and implementing campaigns within Google's recommended guidelines. And in 2012, Penguin really was released to accomplish a few things. Number one, penalize and at the same time promote websites that are providing valuable content and information to its users. While at the same time Penguin cracked down on spammy backlinks, purchased links. If you're going to a website and paying $50 to have your website listed there, those are really actions intended to manipulate Google search rankings using backlinks, and Google cracked down on that in 2012. And as a result of Panda and Penguin and really this being consumer focused, what we saw in 2013, a decade after keyword stuffing was kind of common practice, is that in 2013, Google was really rewarding websites that placed efforts into engaging users by answering their questions with rich, informational, and original content. Okay? How well does the content on your web pages, no matter if it's a blog, if it's a service page, your home page, how well does what's on those pages answer the search query of the user? And if it does and does a good job, Google's going to reward you for that and result in higher search rankings. And if it doesn't, you experience lower search rankings, really starting in 2013. Skipping forward another couple of years here, in 2015, there was two really big updates to Google and how companies like Blue Corona approached SEO and search engine optimization campaigns. The first one being RankBrain. Now, RankBrain, if you're unfamiliar with it, is artificial intelligence. It's machine learning technology that essentially Google has built into its algorithm, and it learns like humans do. So as people are searching, there's millions and billions of searches every day on Google, and as those searches are recorded and Google collects that information about the user's experience on the search results page, crawls other companies' websites, it learns and it evolves its algorithm automatically. And that's important because, again, it's showing that Google constantly wants to be improving, and as a result of that, your SEO campaigns need to be constantly changing with the times. And RankBrain is actually part of Google's core algorithm and the signals that go into that. So it's very important to always keep your SEO campaigns up to date, in line with Google's webmaster guidelines, and evolving not only with Google's updates, but as the consumer's behavior changes in how they search and where they search. The second big update in 2015 was dubbed Mobilegeddon. On April 21st, 2015, Google dropped their mobile-friendly update, dubbed Mobilegeddon by the digital marketing industry. And Mobilegeddon was, again, that drop-dead date that said if you're not mobile-friendly, if your website is not mobile-friendly by April 21st, 2015, your mobile search rankings will suffer because of it. And websites that are mobile-friendly, their websites will increase in mobile search rankings. Now, back in 2015, mobile search rankings were entirely independent from the search rankings someone might see when searching on a laptop or desktop computer. Google had two algorithms, a desktop and a mobile algorithm, whereas today, Google has one single algorithm, and that is the mobile algorithm. So being mobile-friendly is still important today as well. In 2016, Google's head of search, Andrew Lepatsev, confirmed that the three most important ranking factors in their algorithm, in no particular order, are backlinks, content, and RankBrain. So again, we've touched on these things a little bit here, but backlinks, the idea first started in 1994, was confirmed in 2016 as still being one of the three most important factors in your organic search rankings and how your company is found online. Content, again, content has reigned king really for a very long time now, even dating back to 2013, but we really started seeing that trend take place in 2013, as well as, again, RankBrain, the artificial intelligence, and how well your website sends positive signals to Google and their algorithm based on user data and how well you're fitting into that. Which really brings us to 2019. And yes, there were some algorithm updates in 2017 and 18, but by and large, there weren't any game-changing updates. And even today, we still don't see or haven't seen yet super large update from Google. There was an update in late March, but again, that update in late March was really rewarding quality content and websites that have that present that quality content to its users. So what does the future of Google look like, right? So we've talked about the past and how we got here, but what is the future of Google? And that is consumer intent, number one, right? Google, at the end of the day, again, always wants to provide the best answers for someone, whether they're looking to buy a new pair of running shoes, or a new couch, or maybe they're looking for an HVAC or some sort of local contractor or local business near them. So consumer intent and understanding why users are searching for the things they are and what the real intent behind that search might be is super important today and moving forward into the future. Mobile is always going to be important until something replaces our cell phones. But to be honest, we here at Blue Corona don't see that happening anytime soon. So being mobile friendly, not only mobile friendly, but thinking mobile first, which we'll touch on here in a little bit, is super important, not only in 2019, but really since 2015, and it's going to continue to be important as we progress into the future. Voice search is also super important. If you're in attendance today and you have a smartphone, you might have used Siri or said, "Hey Google," if you're on an Android, or maybe you use your Alexa speaker or your Google Home device at work, or excuse me, at home. You understand the power of voice search. And as voice search continues to grow, which it has over the past 2 to 3 years, and it's growing exponentially now, again, which we'll touch on here in a little bit, optimizing your website for voice searches and the intent behind voice search is going to be very, very important and critical to do starting now and into the future. And lastly, second to last, we have localization. As a local business owner or manager yourself, you know how important it is to be found in your own market, in the exact service areas, cities, or locations that you want to be working in or drawing in clients from. Localization is going to be super important, and we'll go over a few ways on how to optimize your website and your SEO campaigns for local search here in a bit. And lastly, authority. Your authority on the web is very important. The ultimate goal of your website and digital marketing campaign should be to successfully translate your real-world authority and expertise online. Okay, you want that expertise, that trustiness, and all of that real-world experience you have to be portrayed online. And some ways to do that, particularly to help your SEO campaign, are things like backlinks, media mentions, sponsorships. Again, we'll cover those in a little bit more detail here shortly. But for all intents and purposes, you want to answer the consumer's questions, be mobile friendly, optimize your website for voice search. You want to optimize your website for local search, and you want to be the online authority. And that brings us to why everyone's here today. This is 7 SEO strategies, again, that you need to focus on now and into the future to generate an increase in leads and sales and help you grow your bottom line. So we're going to cover all 7 here first and then go into more detail. But number 1, you want to be mobile first. It's no longer just okay to be mobile friendly. You need to be mobile first. And not only that, your website needs to be fast. It needs to load fast and get the information to the users as fast as possible without disrupting their user experience. You want to build a brand, and not only build a brand, you want to link back to that brand. Again, we talked about the importance of backlinks or your linking profile, but really you want to build a brand both online as well as through non-traditional advertising avenues. And then you want to get as many places as possible to link back to your website in order to help improve your organic search rankings and start that trickle-down effect of more rankings, higher rankings, more visits, more calls, and book jobs for you. Number 4, you want to make sure you are answering users' questions. And we're going to really talk about consumer intent and content marketing and how that impacts your SEO here in a bit. Again, you want to optimize for voice search. And not only that, you want to make sure that you're maximizing your online real estate. And there's multiple ways to do that. But you want to be found online in as many places as possible and really leverage the SEO factors that go into those things in order to occupy as much real estate. When you think about the game of Monopoly, the goal is to buy as much property as possible, right? And on Google, it's no different. You want to occupy as much property on Google because the more spots on page 1 of Google your company occupies, the less your competitors can be found. And that's going to be super important into the future. And another way to do that is, again, you need to be investing in local SEO. And again, we'll go over some ways to do that here. So number 1, think mobile first. Again, I said it just on the last slide, but it's no longer enough to be mobile friendly, okay? You need to be thinking mobile first in everything you do, not only in SEO, but in all your digital marketing campaigns. There's been a lot of studies out there about the use of mobile devices and how it relates to organic search. And one of those studies found that 38% of people stop engaging with a website if its content or layout is unattractive. So simply someone lands on your website, and if they don't like the design, they are going to stop engaging with it, or 38% of them won't continue through their search process, or at least not on your website. They're going to click back to Google and go to one of your competitors. And not only that, 48% of people cited that a website's design is the #1 factor in deciding a business's credibility. Okay, so if you have an old, outdated website, that is showing nearly 50% of people, they're going to take that as this is a company who's not the authority online. Or maybe I shouldn't work with them because look at this beautiful website over here. This company must be doing well and must be a better company. So again, when it comes to thinking mobile first, more than 50% of all web traffic today, and that's not just in the home service industry, that's globally, more than 50% of all internet web traffic is coming from mobile devices. And again, Google's primary index is their mobile search index. So if you're not mobile friendly or thinking mobile first for your SEO campaigns, that can hurt you in the long run when it comes to your keyword rankings. And again, that trickle down or that waterfall effect, your visits are going to be impacted in a negative way, and less people are going to be viewing your website and given the opportunity to call you. And a big part about thinking mobile first is providing a good user experience. UX, or user experience, is a Google ranking factor, and they look at different signals like the amount of time someone spends on your website. And as we think about that, if someone is spending 10 seconds on your website and then going back to Google, they skim one page and click back to Google, that's probably a poor user experience. Google says, hey, Brandon Doyle only spent 10 seconds on your website. He didn't have a great experience. You didn't have what he needed. And that can potentially hurt your SEO because the longer someone spends on your site and the more pages they engage with, those are sending positive engagement signals to Google and metrics to Google that will help you rank better in the long run and down the road. And a big part of that is giving users what they want first. So using an HVAC example, if someone's looking for a tune-up to have their system serviced here, it's springtime, pollen is falling from the trees here in Charlotte, people are getting their air conditioner serviced so they don't break down in the summer. So using things like seasonal promotions can really help provide a positive user experience and speak to the consumer and the consumer's intent. And again, all of these play into the amount of time someone spends on your website and the amount of pages they visit. The more time and the more pages they visit, the better, more positive signals are going to Google, and the better your SEO campaign is going to perform because your rankings will increase because of it. And the less time, the less pages they visit, high bounce rates, that's going to hurt your SEO and your overall rankings versus your competitors. So again, think mobile first. If you're investing in a new website soon, make sure you ask for that mobile mock-up. Play with that mock-up as if you're on your own phone and pull it up on your own phone to really test that user experience from a consumer standpoint. So you want to have your mobile-friendly website. You want to prioritize that content, and you also want your website to be fast. And I'm not talking fast just on a mobile device. I'm talking fast on desktop, mobile, and tablet, okay? And I like this analogy of a librarian trying to find a book when it comes to website load time. I've spoken to several HVAC contractors and local contractors and business owners that say, well, I'll just wait for it to load, or, you know, a 1 second delay. What's the difference between 3 and 4 seconds, Brandon? And the difference is actually pretty large. 80% of a page's load time is spent downloading all the different elements. So the more images, files, plugins, and features your website has, the slower that website speed, download speed is going to be. And studies actually show that a 1 second delay in page load. So again, going from that 3 to 4 seconds, for example, you're going to lose 11% of page views. Your customers, on average, about 16% of customers say that they have a decrease in their overall customer satisfaction with your website, and the potential to lose up to 7% in conversions. Okay, so if your website loads in 4 seconds instead of 3, you're getting 11 less visits, and 7 out of every 100 people you're losing from either picking up the phone to call you or filling out a web form on your website. Not only that, website load time is a factor in Google's algorithm. Okay, so you want to make sure that your website loads fast. And think of it like this. If you're at the local library, your county library, and you want to check out a Harry Potter book. Now, if everyone, and no one has read the Harry Potter books, they're very long books, 500, 600, 700 pages or more. And that book is kind of like a website, okay? And if you went to your library, you want to be able to go right to the shelf where that Harry Potter book lives. You want to be able to pull it off the shelf, go to the front and check out, and you're done. But wouldn't it be kind of annoying if the person at the front desk of the library said, no, Brandon, in order to sign out The Prisoner of Azkaban from our library, you can't just go grab the whole book. You need to grab 10 pages at a time. So therefore, I would have to walk back to the shelf, grab 10 pages, bring them back up to the front desk, go back, grab 10 more, bring them up to the front desk. And your website and how it loads when someone accesses it from Google or a search engine is very similar. Okay, so I'm a searcher, I'm on Google, I find your website, I click on it. Google has to then download, or your web browser has to download your website from its server, okay, where it's hosted. And the more times it has to ping your server and go back and pull things like large images or chat features, or just any third-party features on your site, that's going to take longer for that website to load, and it's going to negatively impact your SEO, okay? So some ways to build a fast website and some pretty common practices. So I recommend you go ask your webmaster or whoever manages your website if they're doing these things. Number one, minimize the image file sizes, okay? Large HD images are great to connect with consumers in a visual way. But at the same time, large visual images also will slow down the website's load time, because it's something that's a very large file size that the web browser has to download from your server. So you want to make sure you're minimizing and compressing all the images before uploading them to your website. You want to defer non-critical and or third-party elements, and try to minimize those third-party elements that are found on your website. So again, what that means in layman's term, if something's not absolutely critical to the user, I'll use an example of a phone number loading at the top of your website, which you should absolutely have 100%. But if that for some reason wasn't critical, you could actually defer different elements or features or functionality on your website to load after. You can have your webmaster code or use plugins that basically say, hey, show all this information first, the most important information, then load everything else. And that's going to really help minimize that load time and really provide that better user experience, particularly as we know more than 50% of users are operating from their mobile device. Website speed on a mobile device is going to be very critical to have a fast website into the future and right now. And finally, investing or hosting your website in an optimized environment will significantly help your website load time. So a lot of websites out there are built using WordPress. What here at Blue Corona we build all websites on. And there's different servers or hosting environments that are built specifically for certain types of websites. There's servers built to load WordPress websites fast, like the example of WP Engine you can see here on your screen. There's different server environments that help optimize for other content management systems and other CMSs out there. So really understanding what is the best for you. And if you have a WordPress website, I 100% recommend WP Engine because it leverages things like advanced browser caching and other kind of more technical behind the scenes things to make sure your website downloads quickly and is fast loading and the users have a positive experience. Number 3, building a brand and linking back to it. Backlinks and your backlink profile really help your organic search rankings, okay? So whether that is another HVAC contractor all the way out in California and you're a contractor here in North Carolina, if someone across the country links to you because you wrote an informational blog about how to troubleshoot the problems that your furnace is having or your customer's furnaces or the symptoms of the furnace is showing, building those contextually relevant, authoritative backlinks is going to help improve not only your local search engine results, but also just your overall keyword rankings. Now, how does that fit into a more traditional advertising platform like what we think with branding campaigns, or if we're making a heavy push into branding, okay? The reason branded organic search is important is because it's actually a ranking factor in Google. So if someone is looking for an HVAC contractor here in Charlotte, they may search Morris Jenkins. Okay, you see here on your screen, Morris Jenkins. Now, for those of you unfamiliar, Morris Jenkins is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, HVAC contractor here in the Charlotte area. Over 200 employees, several $1 million in revenue per year, and they only offer HVAC and just expanded into plumbing. But branded organic search, if someone is looking specifically for your company on Google, and then they click through to it, sends positive ranking signals that you are an authority in what you offer. And as an HVAC contractor, a plumber, electrician, a lawyer, a remodeler, you want to be the authority. It doesn't matter what industry you work in, you want to be the authority. And branded organic search helps fortify those authority signals on Google. And not only that, you should be supplementing your SEO campaigns with other marketing campaigns, both digital and non-digital, okay? So in order to get that branded organic search, again, someone typing your company name directly into Google, they have to already be familiar with you. So things like television ads, radio ads, generating backlinks through different media mentions that you have, that's all going to send authoritative signals to Google when someone performs a branded organic search, which will have, again, a trickle-down effect when someone who's unfamiliar with your company just searches air conditioner maintenance or broken AC near you. And just a friendly reminder, marketing is the series of touch points. Pay-per-click is very immediate based and tends to be one touch point. Their air conditioner is broken, it's 95 degrees and humid outside, they need someone now. They click pay-per-click and they contact you. The next thing you know, you're at their home. But in general, SEO, pay-per-click, and branding initiatives, they're all part of a series of touch points designed to make customers take action and take action with your company. So all these other efforts all play into your organic search campaigns or your SEO campaigns, particularly through branded organic search. And the more branded organic searches you have and clicks through to your website from branded organic search, the more positive your ranking signals are going to be. And we only expect that authority level and that of the branded organic search to grow over time. Number 4 here, we're almost halfway through of our 7, is you want to answer users' questions. Again, we talked about understanding user intent being critical to SEO because Google wants to provide search results that are rich in information and valuable to its customers. You know, Google's customers are the searchers, so it wants to provide value to the customers just like you do on your own website. Okay. And what you see here on the screenshot on the left might be something that someone searches. Maybe they turn on their air conditioner for the first time this spring and they get this rotten egg smell, right? So they might Google something like, why does my AC smell like rotten eggs? And this is just one of many ways that as a local contractor, you can help provide those answers, not only to Google, but Google can then provide them to your consumers. So again, Google wants to provide those answers, and you can use a variety of tools to start understanding user intent and getting a solid foundation for what people are actually searching when they're looking for a company like yours. And some of those tools are like Google Keyword Planner or the Google Suggestion Box, Moz Keyword Explorer. Head on over to those tools and start typing in your own services, what you would search. And you'll start to get feedback on similar related searches, questions, topics that people are also looking for that you can then go and publish blogs, create videos, publish FAQ pages that answer these questions, or maybe you're able to do it on a service page and convert that visitor directly there. But as we talked about, there's valuable real estate on Google, and it comes in many forms. Here that I'm circling, where it says people also ask, that's a form of those rich snippets that you can take advantage of on SEO to help occupy the maximum amount of real estate you can. So as we look at this screenshot, someone searches, why does my AC smell like rotten eggs? We see that Bolden Brothers ranks number 1. Looks like they have a blog that talks that answers that specific question, but yet underneath we see 1 Hour Heating and Air or 1hourhelp.com has another blog, and the user's eyes are immediately drawn here. And rich snippets frequently dominate search result pages for these more long tail, more specific questions, and can help drive more organic traffic to your website because the user's eyes are automatically drawn here, and these actually get higher click-through rates from organic search than, oftentimes the number 1 rankings. So it's very important to understand what your services, your customers will be looking for, why they might be looking for them, and then publishing content. Again, that content can be service pages, blogs, videos, but publishing content that answers their questions and makes you the authority so that they engage with that content. They're spending more time on site, and that therefore they are more likely to contact you versus a competitor. Number 5, you want to make sure your website is optimized for voice search. Now, we know that 50% or more of all searches on the web today are coming from mobile devices, and out of that 50%, 20% of those mobile searches are voice searches. So things like using Siri on your iPhone or Google Assistant enabled devices. And in a recent study published on Search Engine Land, only 4% of US businesses are what they call voice search ready. And that was taken from an analysis of just under 100,000 companies, 75,000 companies to be exact. So out of 75,000 companies, both large, small, medium, and enterprise level companies, only 4% they found what to be voice search ready. And voice search is important because as more and more people add these devices to their homes, voice is going to be integrated with these devices more and more. Currently, 37 different directories feed right into voice search platforms like Google or Amazon's Alexa. And some of those directories that are feeding in to provide the answers from someone asks, hey, Alexa, I need air conditioning repair, find a contractor near me. 37 different directories are all providing input into those devices in addition to the information already collected by the search engines. And some of those, the big players in those 37 are things like Google Maps, Bing Places, Yelp, Facebook, all the places you know you need to be listed for local SEO purposes are now having a direct impact on voice search. And voice really is one of the key components of the future of SEO. So how do you go about optimizing your website for voice search? Number one, you want to lock down your business NAP. That refers to your business name, address, and phone number on various directories. Again, like Google My Business, which populates Google Maps, on Bing Places, Facebook, etc. And not only your name, address, and phone number, your NAP you want to have correct, but your company's website, your business hours, as well as your street address. You want all that information consistently correct across a variety of directories, both national and local directories, to help improve not only your voice, your chance of being ranked in a voice search, but also local SEO. We talked about rich snippets in the previous slide, and voice-enabled devices actually pull their answers from rich snippets. So thinking back to that search, why does my AC smell like rotten eggs? If I were to ask Alexa that, Alexa's pulling, and Google is pulling its answers from those rich snippets themselves. So if you don't capture that rich snippet in organic search, the chances of capturing that visitor when they search on their voice-enabled device go down very significantly, and chances are, you're not going to be found. Not only that, Google is currently testing in SERP, or SERP stands for Search Engine Result Pages. So they're testing different things on their search results pages. And one of the things that they're testing is setting appointments right on Google. You never have to visit someone's website to book a reservation for restaurants, or set your appointment for your wife's spa appointment, or your spouse's massage. Google's testing and want different ways to keep people on Google and completely avoid your website altogether. But some ways to combat that, again, when your website is optimized for voice search, since we know that voice results are coming from organic search results and rich snippets, that increases your likelihood of being found once Google, which I believe they inevitably will, roll out things like setting appointments for local HVAC contractors, plumbers, or just scheduling in general, no matter what industry you're in. And again, one way to optimize for voice search, this one falls a little outside SEO, but for Google local services ads, if you're a plumber, HVAC contractor, electrician, moving and storage company, you want to make sure that you are investing in local services ads to maximize that online real estate as well. So what are all the ways to maximize that online real estate? Well, through what we've already talked about, your local, your NAP citations, your name, address, and phone number, making sure you're providing relevant information-rich content on your website. You're claiming your Google My Business page and your other directory listings. You start to be able to occupy some of these listings that you see over here on the right. So again, in order to maximize that, you want to own your own knowledge graph. Okay, so this is a knowledge graph over here on the right. You've probably seen something similar if you Googled your own company name. This is essentially populated 100% by Google My Business. So you want to, when someone's searching that branded organic search traffic, you want your knowledge graph to pop up. And one way to do that is by optimizing your Google My Business page and making sure that your name, address, and phone number are consistent with what's found on your website, among other techniques. Again, organic search results, you want to maximize your amount of listings there as well. And that can come through the form of traditional organic search results, like what we see underneath the maps listings. That includes the local Packer Maps listings. It includes It includes rich snippets like you see here and answer boxes, Google posts. Those are all different ways to leverage Google's own search results page in order to provide better user experience, generate higher rankings, and increase visits to your website. We talked about the maps listings, but again, by having consistent NAP and sending in-content signals like HVAC contractor in Charlotte in your text, Google starts to develop and understand where you're located and where you service. And as a result of that, when you search for something like AC tune-up, you're going to get these localized results directly from you. And even a small change in location for the consumer can change what these maps listings look like, which is important because if they work 10 minutes from their house and they see one set of maps listings at their home, and then they search again the next morning at work, they may see an entirely different set of maps listings. And there's ways to optimize by setting your service areas, inputting your zip codes in Google My Business to help make sure that no matter where someone's searching from, if they're within your service area, that you pop up first in those map listings and are found there because it occupies such coveted real estate on Google. Again, we see Google Local Services ads. Now, these are not organic search, but maximize net online real estate is one of those many touch points that help supplement your SEO campaigns and the results generated by them. And finally, we want to make sure we're investing in local SEO. Again, you want consistent, correct NAP citations, and that's going to result in better search rankings. But the other part of local SEO is generating local backlinks to your website. That sends local authority signals to Google, not national authority signals that says, I'm located here and work in these areas. And some really easy kind of quick ways to do that are through things like the Better Business Bureau, claiming your listings there among other local directories, whether they be the yellow pages or whatnot. If your company has been featured in any news articles that are found online, reach out to the person who published that article. And if they didn't link to your website, ask them to. There's no guarantee they will, but if you find or are featured in a variety of news articles or you're featured in different media outlets, getting them to link back to your website is going to be a very authoritative, positive signal for Google because the local paper endorses you essentially. Often overlooked, but community sponsorships are another great way to invest in local SEO. So community sponsorships, when you think about that, what does that look like? Whether you're a member of the local Chamber of Commerce, or maybe you sponsor a Little League baseball or softball team, or some soccer teams in the area, oftentimes these organizations will link back to you and or put your logo on their website because you sponsor and support them. And that's a very, very great way to accomplish two things. Get a backlink to your website from an authoritative, trusted source, as well as additional branding efforts for your company. If you think about sponsoring a youth sports team, those parents of not only the kids on the team you sponsor, but other teams are going to see that logo. And if you're the only contractor, that may ring a bell, or, hey, my kid has played Smith Heating and Air a few times. Why don't I give them a call? Which can all benefit. And of course, the backlink, the link juice coming from those backlinks benefits your local SEO and your SEO campaign as a whole. Lastly, we always encourage all of our clients and prospects we talk to never engage in link swapping or paying for links for that matter. As part of Penguin, that really cracked that Penguin update in 2013. They really cracked down on it. Okay. 2012. So you want to make sure you're never talking to your buddy. If you're a plumber and your buddy's an electrician, you never want to say, hey, link back to my website. I'll link to yours and we'll get some value out of it. Google will recognize that. It needs to be contextually relevant backlinks back to your own company. So to recap really quickly, you want to think mobile first in everything that you do, and you want that mobile website to be fast along with your desktop version of your website. You want to build a brand and link back to it. You want to make sure that your organic search presence for your branded searches your company name, that you're found, in optimizing your website as much as possible to send positive signals to Google. Your content that you publish, no matter what form that content comes in, a blog, video, images, text, you want it to be consumer focused and answer the user's questions. At the end of the day, that's only going to help you on Google to rank higher, generate more visits, and increase those leads and sales. Number 5, you want to optimize for voice search. Again, making sure that you're using everything in your power, or your marketing company is doing everything in their power to set you up for success. Using near me throughout your content, as well as your local citation listings and whatnot, to help optimize your website for voice search is going to be one pillar of many pillars to support your SEO campaign. And some of those other pillars are things like reviews, local packs, rich snippets. You want to always be generating as many reviews as possible to increase your organic search rankings. You want to maximize that local pack using your local NAP citations, maximize your real estate in those rich snippets through blogs, videos, FAQs, which again is all going to send positive signals to Google and help you occupy as much organic real estate as possible. And lastly, again, investing in those local SEO techniques like directory listings, generating local backlinks, community sponsorships. Again, those are only going to help improve your local search rankings and your search rankings overall. So as I went through each of those 7, you probably noticed there's a lot of cross-pollination happening. Optimizing in local SEO will also help your voice search results and vice versa. Building a brand and linking back to it, that's going to help your backlink profile, which is going to help your local SEO. It's going to help maximize that real estate and so on. So none of these should be completed in isolation. They should all be carefully crafted with a custom SEO campaign based on your company's needs, based on your current search presence and the goals you're trying to accomplish in order to be successful, not only in 2019, but long into the future. And that concludes today's webinar. But before I let everyone go, I want to make sure we answer whatever questions you may have. So I did see a couple questions trickle in throughout today's webinar. But go ahead, type in your questions if you do have them. We got a couple already, so I'm going to go ahead and start answering, and we'll answer as many questions we can get to. I know we're running a little over, so I appreciate everyone still on the line with me here today. We'll go to about 3:10, and then of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email is brandon@bluecorona. It's BRANDON @bluecorona.com. Or you can head on over to bluecorona.com/contact us, fill out that form, and we will answer whatever questions you have. So Edward wants to know, how do we go about getting a link back and from, and who should they be? Example, could my church link back? Good question, Edward. And that actually is a common question that we get here at Blue Corona. Does it have to be the church, or, who can and cannot link to me? Use your best judgment when it comes to who can and can't link. You want to make sure that it's contextually relevant links. So things like, if it's a local church and you do the HVAC work, or your company performs the restoration work or any HVAC updates for your church, don't just have them link back to you in the footer of the church's website, if they have one. If they have an active blog where they're writing content about, your religion, maybe they can sneak a post in there that is more of a thank you post, as opposed to, here's 10 tips to lower your air conditioning costs this summer. That's not relevant for a church. But if they publish a blog or a news article themselves about, companies that they partner with, that's one of those opportunities where it would be applicable, not so much in the sense that a church is publishing a blog about HVAC. All right, another question that came in, do review platforms help or hurt SEO? I use ReviewBuzz. So review platforms can be really great. And there's some good ones and some bad ones. Full transparency, here at Blue Corona, we are review platform agnostic. We don't partner with anyone. We recommend some good ones or some better ones, but we don't have an exclusivity with any partnerships. So as we think about that, we really see that Review Buzz is pretty good. It helps you generate a lot of great reviews, thousands of reviews pretty quickly. However, the thing with Review Buzz is that the reviews all live on your company profile page on Review Buzz. So they are giving beneficial and good SEO factors. They're providing good SEO signals to Google and other search engines because people are leaving 4- and 5-star reviews for your company on Google through the Review Buzz platform. But in terms of any value on your website, specifically Review Buzz, there's zero value in Review Buzz from having reviews on your website, since they all live on your company profile page on reviewbuzz.com. So that's kind of our take on Review Buzz. Now, we have seen other review platforms provide SEO value. Nearby Now is a really good one. Pulse M is another really good one to provide SEO value, if you're in the market for a new platform. Do tracked phone lines on directories like Yelp hurt my keyword rankings? Another good question. So when it comes to tracked phone lines, here at Blue Corona, we recommend you track everything to help you determine what marketing channels or campaigns are generating the most leads and the highest return on investment. And tracked phone lines are one way to do that, because you can track the amount of phone calls, the quality of phone calls, and who actually turned into a customer through those. But as we mentioned earlier in the webinar, you want your phone numbers to be consistent across things like Yelp, Google My Business. And if you have a tracked phone line on there that's different from your office line, there's going to be a discrepancy there naturally. And Google, even though you want to have consistent phone numbers across the website, if you're investing money in a platform like Yelp or Houzz or Angie's List or any sort of platform where you can generate leads from or generate traffic from, if it's over a certain dollar amount that you're comfortable with, that dollar amount might be $500 for some companies, it might be $3,000 for another company. But whatever you say, hey, this is a significant amount of money I'm investing in this platform, I want to understand and know what I'm getting out of it, that's where you should put the tracked phone line on. And if you don't care if you're investing $50 a month in Yelp and you get a couple phone calls, but you really don't care, you're more concerned with visibility as opposed to the ROI from it, that's where you would want your office line or the consistent number. What does an SEO package include at Blue Corona? Good question. So we don't just sell individual SEO packages. We really take a customized approach to your business. So we don't ever make recommendations and say you should invest in SEO at this dollar amount. What we like to do is take a step back and perform a digital competitive analysis, look at your competitors and how they're performing and how do you stack up against it to make those recommendations. But, generally speaking, when someone partners with us and we partner with them, you're going to get a dedicated account manager who's working with you and is your single point of contact. You're going to get, based on your investment level, various amounts of SEO on a monthly basis. You're going to get monthly reports and keyword tracking. You're going to get time with your account manager each and every month to sit down and review those reports, tracked phone lines, kind of the whole 9 yards. All right, that appears to be all the questions from today's webinar. So again, I want to thank everybody for joining me today. I hope you learned something. Of course, at Blue Corona, we would love the opportunity to work with you. If not, no hard feelings, but if you are interested in learning more about our services or what we can do for you and how we can help you increase your leads and sales, differentiate your brand while simultaneously lowering those marketing costs for you, feel free to reach out to us. bluecorona.com/contact us, or if you visit bluecorona.com, call the number on the website or fill out one of our many forms. A representative will be ready to speak with you. And lastly, before I let everyone go, there is going to be a brief survey at the conclusion of this webinar. And we're actually going to be giving away a gift card to one lucky winner who fills out that survey. So We would appreciate it if you left us some critical feedback, as well as hopefully you are the random person selected for that gift card. So again, we want to thank you for joining us. Please complete the survey. And if you're interested in working with us, please feel free to reach out with us. And if not, no hard feelings. We hope you learned something, and we're looking forward to speaking with you next month. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.